All right, everybody, it's Kelly, and I'm back with another episode of Ask a Therapist. Today, we're going to be talking about anxiety, anxious thoughts, and what to do when you're in the middle of that anxiety swirl. By and large, one of the biggest things that people wanted to know about when I say, hey, ask me whatever you'd want to ask a therapist, they want to know, what do I do about my anxiety? So the first thing that I will say is your best bet is to find a professional who can help you to work through the causes of your anxiety, the triggers of your anxiety, and how best to manage it for you. Because all of the ways that are out there for managing things are dependent on a person and on your experiences. What works for one person might not work for another. I have a couple of things that I'm going to show you today about how to potentially get yourself out of that anxiety spiral. And I also want to talk to you about what anxiety is. So anxiety itself is not a logical process. When your brain is already in that anxious state, it begins the shutting down or the less focus on the left side of your brain. Some of you might already know this about the brain, where your left side is your logic and your reason and your understanding of things in that logical and reasonable way. And then the right side of your brain is about emotion and feeling and perception. And it's just more reactionary. Now, the thing about anxiety is when you're in an anxious state, your brain is feeding the left side less. Your body is feeding less of your left side of your brain. And so when you're in that anxious state, it's about emotions and feelings and perception of the situation. And so I'll have some people who will say to me, why can't I just tell myself to not be anxious? Or why can't I tell my loved one to just stop worrying? Or for me, when I'm in an anxious state, people that care a lot about me say, just don't worry about it. You can't be anxious about this right now. You can't do anything about it right now. And I love it. They're so well-meaning and super sweet, but oh my goodness, does that not help? Because when I'm already swirling, the logic isn't there. The ability to separate what is actually happening from what I think is happening, or what I perceive is happening, or what I feel is happening. It's not, I'm not at my best in how to differentiate that. So in reality, I've got to come out of that anxious state before I can really start to see the logic of what's happening and what I need to do. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I want you to give yourselves and your loved ones a break. Telling someone to not be anxious or not worry about something when they're already in that state is not always helpful, although very well-meaning. And don't get down on yourself when you can't get yourself out of that spiral, because again, there's little logic to it and more emotion. And so one of the things that I really advocate for people to do is to do the work to get themselves out of that particular moment and back into the present, not worrying about the future, but thinking about what is happening in the here and now. And we do that with grounding. So I have a couple of grounding techniques I want to teach you, and you'll watch me do it. And then I hope that you'll try to do this at home also, because if you can get yourself to a point where it's a little more natural for you to do these things, it will be helpful to you in most situations when you start feeling anxious about things. Okay. So we'll do a breathing grounding situation first. So what I need you to do is I need you to sit. You can't see my feet. My feet are flat on the floor and my hands are just palm down on my knees. Okay. I'd pan out, but I'm the only camera person here today, so you won't be able to see my whole stance. But feet flat on the floor, thighs parallel to the floor, back straight but relaxed, and my hands placed on my knees. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the count of 4 for your breathing. A lot of times people will do 3. That's why we do 4, is just to get you a little bit out of that normal understanding of breath in and breath out, right? So we're going to breathe in for 4 and out for 4. In for 4, out for 4. In for 4, out for 4. And while you're breathing in and breathing out, I want you to really become aware of your feet. Where are they? Are you holding any tension in your feet? And if you are, I want you to relax and release it. Let your feet be firm on the floor and feel your connection to the ground beneath you. Then I want you to think about your posture. I want you to feel your breath in your lungs and feel the chair beneath you. I want you to be aware of how it feels. I want you to be aware of where it's supporting you. And I want you to be aware of where your shoulders are. Are they straight? Are they hunched? Are they giving your lungs enough room that they can expand and release the way they need to? And then I want you to be aware of your neck. Is it tensed? Is it jutted out? Is it back really far? Let it sit at a comfortable place where your ears are lined up with your shoulders. And I want you to take a big breath in and a big breath out. Breathe in, breathe out. That simple. It's about grounding yourself and finding yourself in the moment and helping your body as a whole to be aware of its present state. Nothing future, just present. Be aware of your feet, be aware of your legs, be aware of your back, be aware of your neck. These are places that we typically hold the tension. And when we get into anxiety thoughts, there's a lot of tension there. So relaxing those parts of you keeps you present. It'll help to calm your breathing. It'll help to relax some of your muscles and just let go of some of that tension. Now I'm going to do one. It's the 5-4-3-2-1 method. And I have a graphic of it on my Instagram. I'm going to also probably splice one into here right now. So you've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you're going to start with 5 things that you can see. And then you're going to go to 4 things that you can touch. You're going to go to 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you think is beautiful. So normally when I do this in session with a client, I'll do it once and then I'll have them do it once. I'm just going to do it once so you can see it, and then hopefully you'll practice this at home. All right, so I'm going to use things that are in the frame so that you're sort of doing this with me. Here we go. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 4. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 4. So I'm looking for 5 things that I can see, right? So I can see that gray pillow right here. I can see that it is a different gray than this, but it's still a pretty neutral gray. I can see SpongeBob over here. He makes a guest appearance every now and then in my videos, so there's SpongeBob. I can see the picture frame above my head. That's actually a picture from a time that I was on vacation, and I just thought it was absolutely beautiful. So that's 3. I can see my glasses and the glare in my glasses, which is just what it is. One more thing that I can see is I can see that box of tissues, the ubiquitous box of tissues that I talked about last week. That's right there on the couch too. Those are my 5 things. So breathing in and I'm breathing out. When I'm looking at each of these things that I can see, I am also focusing on what do they look like? What do I understand them to be? Do I think they're beautiful? Do I think that they're funny looking? Do I think that they're out of place? What is it? That's 5 things you can see. 4 things I can touch. So I can touch this. This pillow here is actually very soft. I can touch my water bottle. Smooth, it's cold. That's 2. I can touch the couch right back here. Again, kind of rough, a little burlappy. And one more thing that I can touch my face. Although I don't really recommend doing this a whole lot unless you wash your hands. Cold and flu season after all. But I can touch my face, okay? So that's 4 things that I can touch. 3 things that I can hear. I can hear cars outside on the road. I can hear the air conditioning vents turning on right now. And I can hear the building settling. I can hear different sounds of the ceiling and the walls and the building just sort of settling as the wind blows outside. So that's 3 things that I can hear. 2 things I can smell. This is actually a really easy one to do inconspicuously because I can smell my shirt. It smells like my house. That's kind of nice. And then if your hair is long enough, you can smell your hair. It smells like shampoo. So that's 2 things, just 2 things that you can smell. And then 1 thing that you find absolutely beautiful, and really focus on that for an inward breath of 4 and an outward breath of 4. And then 1 more inward and 1 more outward. It's just a beautiful scene or something in your mind or something that you imagine one day that's beautiful to you. And that's just something you don't even have to tell anybody what it is if you don't want to. But that exercise is a little bit longer, obviously. But what it does it does a couple of different things for people. Number one, it takes you into the here and now. So it's stuff that you can see right now. For me, it was stuff in this frame that I could see. So that was a little different. And normally it'd be anything you can see anywhere in the room or area that you're in. Touching, hearing, smelling, seeing, imagining. Those are senses that are present, and those are just as base parts of your body as the right side, left side, fight or flight kind of swirling that we do when we get anxious. They're just as much a part of your body. People talk about multitasking still like it's an actual thing. It's not a thing. That's not how brains work. You switch back and forth really fast from different tasks, but you can't focus consciously on more than one thing at once. And so getting your brain out of that future thought or the thing that you're anxious about thought and getting into what it is that is right in front of you and right in the here and now will get you out of that spiral. And then once you get out of that spiral, I recommend using the HALT method before you start to worry again. HALT is a check-in sort of for yourself. It's, are you hungry? Are you angry? Are you lonely? And are you tired? If you're any of those things, then figure out how to address those things before you address the thing that you're worried about. Because the way that you address the thing that you're worried about, if you have any of those four things, is going to be different than how you might want to if you're well rested, well fed, calm, and feel supported and loved. So those are four things, the HALT method, that you can just sort of run through and check in with yourself and take a quick inventory. Those are a couple of ways that you can get yourself in a slightly different mindset when anxiety starts to spike. Sometimes you just have to get yourself out of there. You got to get into a different mindset before you can move forward. And I understand that. And so here's some ways that you can do it. Now, remember what I said about logic. Your brain is not logical during anxiety. And the reason that's significant is because during anxiety, you aren't going to be able to remember to do these things if you aren't already doing them when you're not anxious. And so you need to be practicing your breathing, practicing the 5-4-3-2-1 method, practicing HALT on a regular basis for it to find its way into your memory in a way that's going to be able to recall when you're in the spiral. I hope that makes sense. So the more you practice it, the more it becomes part of your inventory and part of your body language in general. And so then when you do get spirally, or you do get caught up in it, then you can access it and use it in the best way. So those are just a couple of things: breathing, grounding, 5-4-3-2-1, and HALT. I advocate very strongly for you to find a professional who is able to talk to you for the personal aspect of anxiety. What is it you're anxious about? What is causing your anxiety? Why do you default to anxiety? Those sort of things. That is an individual, professional kind of a thing. And that is how you're going to get the best results. But these are just some things that you can do, or, teach a friend to do in order to be able to get yourself out of that immediate state. But just because you're out of an immediate state does not mean it's gone. It's very important that you hear me say that, because this does not replace the care of a professional who can help you with an anxiety issue. Okay, so that is my anxiety video for today. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Have a great day.